It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Welcome back to Confidence in Bloom, where we have real conversations for women on the edge of reinvention, women who are ready to trust themselves, take up space, and step into what's next with clarity and confidence. Today's episode is all about being unapologetically unique, owning who you are, how you lead, and the path you've chosen, even when it looks different for everyone else. And I couldn't think of a better guest to have with this conversation. Lisa Patel is an award-winning real estate leader, entrepreneur, and founder of Property Princess Group. With over 2 decades in the mortgage and real estate industry, she's built not only a highly respected, client-focused business, but a reputation for innovation, integrity, and leadership. As a former president of TRREB, TRREB, Lisa's going to tell us what that means. Lisa has become a powerful voice in the industry, championing growth, diversity, and professional advancement. But what really stands out is how she's carved her own path, leading with authenticity, mentoring others, and staying deeply connected to purpose and community. Lisa, welcome to Confidence in Bloom. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you. And I've been waiting for this, and here we are.
Yeah, here we are. It's funny how fast time goes, right?
You said a
I can't
mouthful.
believe just at the last 6 years alone, how quickly the time has gone, right? And we all know 6 years ago was, the whole COVID lockdown. And yeah, now it's like, my God, it's been 6 years already. And so much has happened, right?
Yes.
I do have a question for you. In your bio, I read that you're a former president of TRREB. Can you clarify what TRREB is?
Sure. So it's the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. One of the many hats that I've worn is being a president and for the association that I love and the largest association in the world, as well as the largest association in Canada. So it's the real estate board, and it's been an honor and privilege to have served the industry and have spent 11 years serving the industry.
Wow. Wow. Good for you. Congratulations. That sounds like it's a huge market, right? Toronto, we all know Toronto's market is huge. So to be president of that whole community, that's a big feat.
And we've grown too. Initially when I joined real estate, 17, 18 years ago, I think there was about 30,000 realtors. And today, the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, because we've expanded across the GTA, we are approximately 75,000 realtors and 100,000 in the province of Ontario.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. And I mean, we know that the Toronto real estate market alone is like, it's crazy, right? And now when you broaden that even wider, wow.
There's been a lot of change, especially the last couple of years in terms of the marketplace, like since that pre-pandemic to that pandemic level. And of course, we've seen a numbers of drop because the markets have shifted a lot in the last couple of years. But I always say to people, it's a teeter-totter, right? What sways one way, the teeter-totter always moves the other way.
Right.
And it's always just being prepared for those opportunities.
Of course. And then it also keeps you more aware of what the market's going to do for the next time around, right? Because it goes in cycles.
Kind of. There's two things that we can't control.
Right. Right.
Well, number one is government intervention. So that's what always makes a shift and change in the market, because the market itself will always, I always say that everybody tries to understand the real estate market, but the real estate market is a market of its own. And if people left it alone, it would do wonders. But the problem is then we sometimes get government intervention. And then we've had the unforeseen in the last couple of years. I'm just going to point over to our U.S. neighbors. We love you, but your president has made things a little challenging, and of course the unexpected also with the wars going on in the world too. That
Right.
has
Yeah.
impact
Yeah.
on people emotionally and of course economically.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. And then, well, there's so many things that impact that, right? Like, I mean, we all know the world is suffering now with gas prices. Like it's ridiculous how much we're paying, right? Just to go to work,
Yeah,
right? Like it's crazy, right? And
you
that
said a
all
mouthful.
has
Yeah.
an effect, right? Because I mean, if I'm paying this much in gas, can I afford a bigger mortgage than what I have? No, right? Do I need to downsize? Like, it's because the prices, in my opinion, I don't see that. Why would they bring them down?
Mhm.
Right? Our grocery prices went up. They never came back down, right? I see
It's
gas
it's
prices.
that all defining thing. Like we see that with not only foods but even like property taxes and all of those things. The problem is the cost to build, the cost to supply, the cost to live, right? And you said a mouthful when you said like, why would they come down? And
Yeah,
it's the truth. Like it would be wonderful if it could, or if there were incentives that helped during these times.
right. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I mean, I didn't invite you here to discuss this, right? I mean, I don't like to
Who
like
doesn't
talk
love talking
too
real
much.
estate?
I know, right? Well, and it's more the political part of it, right? Like I don't like to get too much into politics. I don't really follow politics. I have my opinions, right? But I don't know enough about how it works, so I don't really want to get too far into it. Although I would love to have a discussion with you, but we'll leave that for another time. So, I mean, we talked about a little bit about your career already. I want to know, like, it sounds like it was incredible. Like, you've done many things. Was there a moment where you kind of realized that you needed to do things your own way instead of following any kind of a path that's sort of been set up for you?
You know what? I feel like in some ways we have pre-notioned paths, right? That we're meant to discover in this world. I'm a spiritualist, so I'm just going to call it out. But also, I also believe that in our journey of life, we come across many different paths, and mine was I'm very fortunate came to me early. Mine came to me in my 20s, and where I knew I was here for a bigger purpose. And I think I had even known before then, like I was told that I was an indigo child. Indigo children were born into the world to make it, not to change the world, but to make it a better place. And when I think about my own path, like it's hard to believe, just like you said, all the things that I've done in this life, and looking at it and saying, okay, now this makes sense. So my note when I walked into my 20s, I had already passed all that like fun phase because I had done it earlier. So I guess I've an old soul that has grown, beyond my time. And so by the time I got into my 20s, I was like, you know what? I'm here for a bigger purpose. And the reality is, what footprints am I leaving for not just like my nephews and the generations after me, but more generations to come? And I went into the world with that mentality, is that I'm here to serve, I'm here to love, I'm here to grow, and I'm here to make the world a better place for those generations to come and for
Love
where I
that.
am today. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, in your 20s, that's not normal, right? In our 20s, we don't think that way, right? In our 20s, it's all about me, right? Like it's all about what am I here for? Like not necessarily what am I here for, but what can I do to enjoy this, right? Like that's what the 20s is for. I love
So
that. So
I'm going to
that's
kill you here because I ran in politics in my 20s. So it's actually 20 years ago that I ran.
wow. That's crazy. Like, yeah, like I mean, obviously an old soul, right? Like it's yeah, because in your 20s you might think I'm going to be president one day or I'm going to be prime minister one day, right? But you don't actually like I mean, you have to I guess to some degree you have to sort of put yourself in there, but it's not I mean, it's more about having fun with it. Wouldn't you say
You said
most
a mouthful.
women?
Yeah, you probably wouldn't be putting together a business plan and saying, okay, these are the things I'm going to do to get to X, Y, Z, or okay, or every opportunity, or where can I plug myself into now that I can give back to this community or that community. And it was just an evolution of like one thing after the other, and it was just like everything that came to me or that I somehow put myself into, it led to another one.
Right, right. I love that. I mean, you must have been one of those women that had so much energy and so much, like, so feisty, like, don't get in her way because she is on a roll, right? That's the energy I'm feeling from you right now because I mean, I remember back when I was in my 20s. I mean, sure, yeah, I knew I wanted to get married and I wanted to have a family, but it wasn't like the only thing on my mind. Whereas I feel like you were like, I'm here for a reason and I'm going to it.
You said, and I still have that mentality, and I mean it's not as like in that way, but it's there where I'm like, if you think you're gonna mess with me, I'm about to do something wonderful, and you better not mess with
I love it. I
it.
love it. And I'll be honest, I think we need more people like that in our lives to sort of pump up the flame in our own bodies, like in our own, purpose, right? In general. I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but I mean, I think, like people like you help motivate the people around you.
Thank you. I love you for
Yeah,
that. And you know what, but I feel like that's part of our role in our job as we grow, right? That, it's about passing the torch and sharing the love, and when we share the love, others share the love, and it's just more love going all around.
exactly, exactly. Right, exactly. And obviously with the right intention, right? Like if you're
100%.
if you're out there to burn bridges, then it's going to bite you in the ass.
I agree. It's still
Yeah.
like the notion of our world today, right? I mean, like, there is a percentage of people that are spreading love. Like, every day that I wake up in this world, I always say, thank you for another day in this world. Where would you have me go today? What would you have me do? What would you have me say to whom guide and light my path? And of course, I send love from my heart to the universe, to the world, to everybody. And I feel like if more people did that, we'd have more love.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, honestly. And we can see it. I see it like in every day, like when you go out of the house, you see it every day. People are not grateful for what they do have. And it doesn't matter what they have, right? Whether they have, a ton of money and a big huge house and a beautiful car, or they have nothing. People are just not grateful for what they have. And the thing is, we work for it. Like you're working for what you have, right? You
You
should
said
be
it. Yeah.
grateful, right? You should be
Yeah.
grateful for what you have, you
I
know?
am grateful to be here right now with you in this moment.
Right, exactly, exactly. And the opportunity to share our story, to share, our views on things. Yes, thank you for that. Now, unapologetically unique is our theme right now in our season, and that can feel empowering, but it can also feel super scary. I'm wondering, what did that look like for you in the early stages of your career? Because at 20 years old, running in politics, that's got to be scary as well as empowering.
I guess okay, so yes, you're absolutely right. So 20 years in my early 20s running in politics, it was a big step, but I was determined. I was like, you know what? I'm here for the community. I'm going to do it. And when I first went out knocking on doors, they weren't paying attention. I would knock and then I changed my script and I looked at them and I said, let me guess. You think I'm 18 years old and have no idea what I'm talking about. Here are the issues. Bang, bang, bang. Now I need your vote. And I literally had to redefine it because I could see the writing on the wall through their face that they weren't listening and they weren't going to support me. And I had to, and unfortunately or fortunately, I have really good genes. So I don't look my truth of my age. And it's one of the reasons why I've had to wear makeup my entire life because just to give you that extra, uh,
Age.
that age. Yeah, that age factor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just that factor so that they could look at it because the minute you start getting anybody that I've ran 3 times for anyone that doesn't know. I ran in my early 20s. I ran 16 years after that. I ran against an incumbent that had been in power for 30 years. And it was not an easy battle, but I was like, you know what? Watch me. I'm going to do it. And
Yeah.
and of course, unfortunately, I didn't continue that battle. Not to say that that battle is over. It just wasn't my time, and my time is coming, and I'm looking forward to that next chapter. But in the meantime, I think when you have a desire for something that's so big, not that's bigger than you, and that comprises of the people around you or your community, or whether it's even girlfriends or groups or associations, and you have a desire to do something so wonderful, every ounce of that uniqueness comes into it. And there's like a play of yourself, there's a play of a higher power that comes into it. And just because of the coincidences that take place, the things that come along your path, like I ask for signs all the time and I get them. Whether it's a cardinal showing up at my in my backyard, but they're all there for us. And I think the key here is ourselves, is understanding ourselves. And when we come to know how much power we have within us, there's so many wonderful things we can do.
Oh God, that is so true. You know, when people say stand in your own power, right? That's what they're talking about, right? Your power doesn't necessarily have to be overpowering the rest of the world, right? It's like, what am I capable of, right? And what can I do with this,
Or
right?
even it could be even bringing sunshine to people every single day, like by saying,
Exactly.
smiling and saying
Exactly.
hello. And I feel like the world forgets about that stuff and we're afraid to now because there's so much chaos around us. And we just forget, like, you know what? We are beautiful, bright, shining souls, and we have so much to give to this world. And every day is a blessed day,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And if that means, again, right, like giving a smile to someone, you
Mhm.
know, walking down the street, that someone might have not seen that smile for who knows how long, and you just changed the rest of their life,
A
right?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's remember that old saying, it's not what you do, it's how you made them feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, and when you go into the world with that level of understanding that this isn't about me, this is about something even bigger, and I'm going to do, or I'm going to play the best version of myself every single day, and any little bit that I can give for myself, to myself, right? So we always forget about ourselves, so we got to give to ourselves too, and then give to the people around us, then you can do anything.
Yeah, yeah. So true, right? Now, I mean, in real estate, it's competitive, right? It's a competitive industry, right? We don't have to explain that. But how do you stay true to your own values when there's so much pressure on you to conform to or play? I mean, you have to play it safe, right? But there's also a lot of games you have to play. How do you manage that?
So number one, I listen, my industry, hands down, I love you guys, but my ego gets checked at the door. There's no, you need your ego for your confidence, for to believe in yourself and your abilities. But my ego in terms of like going out, look at me, I don't care. Awards and stuff are wonderful things. Thank you. Thank you for so very much. I appreciate them. But what gets me is the people that we get to serve. And that level is a whole other. Or there's so many relationships in real estate. So there's the relationship with another realtor, or realtor colleagues. And then there's the relationship with the people we get to serve, the clients or the customers. And even if it's a customer that it didn't work out, if I could add something of value, then I've done my part.
Oh, I love that. I love that answer because it's not always just about the final sale, right? It's
Yeah.
not always about the dollar that's being exchanged.
And
Yeah,
you know what?
I
I
love
want to add something to that. Like what people don't know, and oh my gosh, I'm about to share a lot. So the average salary, everybody thinks like, oh, you're real estate, you make lots of money, and like the assumption or the stigmatization is out there. But the reality is, our salaries, our average salary of a realtor today is like 25,000. So you have to
a
really
year.
yeah, you have to work your business. Otherwise, if you're not going to work your business, what you put in is what you get out. And a lot of people don't realize that. They just think, oh, I'm going to go into real estate. No, well, have you really asked and spoken to somebody? Have you sat down and really figured thought this out? And like, don't get me wrong, like I fell into real estate by mistake. I was actually in the mortgage industry originally. That's why I've been 20
Usually
years
the
in
other
the
way
industry.
around, right? Yeah.
So originally I was in the mortgage industry, and I left a major bank and I opened a small brokerage with a partner. And I walked in one day and the partner looked at me and she's like, you'd be better at real estate. Here's a check. Go get your license. So I call that person was a conduit, part of my journey. And I had no desire of being in real estate. And that changed my life because when I got into real estate, I was thinking big things. Like I mean, I have an avatar for those that don't know, the property princess. But also I was thinking big things and creating big things. I was like, I want to do something that's not out there. I want to go into all of these segments. And then I also was like, I want to get back to this industry. I was giving back to my office so much, and then I got exhausted from that. I was like, nope, it's time to do something bigger for the industry. And that's when I got involved with the board, and which also was a shift. You learn a lot. You learn a lot more. I call it organized real estate. So there's real estate and then there's organized real estate. It's like the governing board, and it's a whole other foundation that you see things that you would never ever imagine that goes on, and total eye opener.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. I think nothing is ever the way it looks, right? Right. I mean, that's what I've learned in my, years on this earth, that it's never the way it really looks. And it's never the way you imagine it. Right.
That's
Like
true.
okay, like I know that there's going to be other parts to this, but I can just imagine it's going to be this, this, and this. And then you get there and you're like blown away because you're like, whoa, where did this come from? Right. So I could see what you mean by that. Now, in all of this, I mean, you've been in all corners of the real estate industry now. What would you like? Do you ever like think back and realize that you struggled maybe with self-doubt or imposter syndrome? And when you did, like, how did you manage it? How did you navigate through all of it?
So we see it through what's happening in our life, and we have to rely on our own gifts. Like everybody in this world has gifts. If they don't know it, you need to spend time with yourself and discover what your gifts are.
Mm.
Because we all have some gifts that were given to us that we were meant to share in this world. And I'm very intuitive. So I pay very attention to my body. I pay very attention to the messages that come to me or thoughts. Like I've had some crazy stories, which I'll have to tell you off the record, of stuff that have happened. And The reality is, I have seen it several times. You could be going through wonderful years and all of a sudden you hit a snag and you're like, what was that? And whether it was, my own mindset that shifted, and maybe there was a moment where I didn't believe in myself. Like I will say, like, I'll be very honest and say the last 4 years of my 20 years in this business have been hard, have been harder than the previous years. And it was because we went through, uncertainty to back to normal and then to a market that went flat. Um, and then having to be sunshine to the world in those markets were not easy either. And I mean, I feel like Toronto's market is just about to pop and shift, so we're about to see that. But it's been a slow go because we've been hit on every level with everything that's happened, whether it be around the world or economically or internally. Even every government shift impacts the market, and it's hard to keep we have to, number one, we have to take care of ourselves and make sure that we're in tune to what's going on. And also I work on my mindset every single morning. I don't leave the house until I've done my meditation. So those things are the things that keep me grounded. I give gratitude every single day. because gratitude shifts all of those imposter syndrome and everything else. And, I've probably got journals of like questions of myself, in those moments where things aren't working and you're trying and I'm like, okay, I'm moving around furniture in my house because I'm shifting energy and wait a minute, it's still not working. Okay. And I'm trying everything there is. I'm like, okay, let's put on some thieves oil and get rid of that negativity and it's still going and you're like, okay, it's still not working. What is it? So, and that's when you get really deep and clear of what is it in either internally, like subconsciously or consciously that is sitting on me that I'm not thinking about or that I'm thinking in a way that I'm not picking up on.
I
Is that
love that. And it all comes down to self-awareness, right?
yeah.
What am I feeling? What am I going to do with this? Right? Where is it going to bring me? Right?
Uh,
Yeah.
100%. And then it's like, okay, well, now I need to do the formula to understand um, what's causing that thinking, right? To shift it and say, okay, but that isn't true. So what is really true?
Right.
And then
Right.
have to reprogram yourself to believe all those things. My brother was adorable when he was younger, so we were very much in similar businesses. So he said, Lisa, every day before I leave the house, I look at the mirror and I say, "Oh, I'm the shit," and I go out. I'm like, okay.
And a shit in a shit. And when that comes out of a man's mouth, right? It doesn't mean like I'm a shit, right? When a
No.
woman says I'm a shit, we mean we're garbage, right? When a man says it, he's like the coolest thing in the world.
You said it, yes. And so we need to be like that. Before we leave the house, we need to look at that mirror, look at that person and say, you know what, you got to go.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, isn't it Mel Robbins that says she gives herself high fives every day? Right.
Yes.
And it's for
Yeah,
that
that great
reason.
book. Yes.
If you can't pump yourself up, no one else is going to. Right.
One of the things I tell myself every single day, I say it 3 times, and it could be any time of the day that I remind myself, and it's, thank you for the love that I have. I love myself. I love you. Whether it's universe, God, source, spirit, whatever you want to call it. But I say that 3 times every single day.
I love that. I love that. And I think women, it's okay for women to make that a habit, right? It's okay to say to yourself, you got this,
Yes,
right? You
100%.
can do this, right? Because if you don't rock yourself up and you always wait for someone else, to validate what you're feeling, you're never going to get to where you want to go.
No, and you know what the sad part is, and then that's when we start to see those other paths come in, and you're like, well, what just happened here?
Yeah.
We allowed it because
Yeah.
we're looking for validation versus looking at ourselves and saying, you already have it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. So what do you see women struggling with the most when it comes to owning their own uniqueness?
I think it's actually believing that they have a uniqueness. The reality is a lot of us don't realize that we are all unique and that we all, like I said, have a gift or have something to give to this world. I think people don't realize that about themselves. I think that um, so there's a combo. There's people that do realize it. There's a combination that know it but haven't tested it to believe it enough.
Mhm.
And then you have those that don't believe it. So there's the 10-10-80 principle. 10% naysayers, 10% yay sayers, and the 80% of the population that have no clue what to do with themselves
Right,
or which way
right.
to decide. And I feel like that's part of every aspect of our lives. And I think that the reality is we don't give ourselves enough credit or celebrate our little wins. Whether it was like, I got everything done on my to-do list. Yes. You know,
I
or,
rocked it today. Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Or you know what? I was a great auntie today and I'm proud of myself. Um, I don't need my nephews to tell me that. I need to myself to tell me that.
yeah. And the
And
thing is, they won't tell you that, right? They're not going to say, Auntie,
they're
you did
teenagers.
great today.
No.
No, but you can tell when they leave you and they're happy, you know that you did what you had to do, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think that's a part of all of that uniqueness process is like, and even using my nephews, like I want them to remember that they're unique. And we got to put those seeds in ourselves first. And then we plant them around us and all of those aspects. But if we're not planting those seeds, we're not going to see those special gifts.
yeah.
We're not going to see see all of the things that we do, whether it's be a great mom, be a great entrepreneur, great, whatever it is, own your own greatness.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole self-awareness key is the key, right? Like if you're self-aware, you will recognize your uniqueness.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Or you will discover it. You know, if you allow yourself to be open, and I even say like even putting it out into the universe, and the magic just begins. If
Yeah.
we stay open, like I just, you know, if you and I said to yourself, okay, you know what? We're open to seeing how unique we really are. It is crazy the things that are about to come into our world because I'm saying I'm open and I'm ready to receive all of my uniqueness. And
And
guess
all
what?
of a sudden, yeah, then it comes down like rain, right? It's like all of a sudden all these things are happening and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with it all, right? Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. So how do you help other women step into their voice and their confidence, especially when you know that they've been holding themselves back?
You know what? I was at an event a couple months back, and there was somebody that was there that I guess she's on one of my social media channels. We don't know each other, and I went up to her and I acknowledged her. I first, you know, is said who I am and introduced, and vice versa. And she had something on her, a little mark on her face or something. It was like probably chocolate or something. I don't know. And I said, do you mind if I touch your face for a second? And I grabbed a napkin and I dabbed it off. And she has never forgotten that moment. Um, so we all need to be a good sister to each other and support each other, whether it's something in your teeth or whatever. But little steps make a big difference. It makes a huge impact. Don't forget it. Or just by being there, being a good listener. So if you know, I check on certain women on a daily basis and vice versa. It's being that accountability person to each other, but also the other thing is just being available. Most
Yeah.
people just need a voice to speak or a platform just to share their thoughts. And being available, making that time and space for somebody makes the biggest difference.
Yeah.
And if you're you know what, I want people to be their true self. And I'm not going to use authentic. I'm just saying be your true self. You know, if you want to share love in this world, there's so many ways to share it.
Yeah.
And with other women, there's so many ways we can do it. We can do it through circles of different groups and associations and all of those things. We could do it in business groups. Um, but it's showing up. It's being present. It's being able to listen.
Yeah. And not always having a plan, right? Like a game plan, right? It's, I'm just going to show up, whatever happens, happens, right? If you get a client, you get a client. If you make a friend, you make a friend. And if you walk away saying, I didn't really meet anybody different or anyone that I didn't really want to connect with, that's okay too,
And
right?
guess what? And
Yeah.
maybe that wasn't your people. And maybe there's another group of people. Or maybe that was like just the first onset. And maybe you need to go back and
Right. Right.
working on it. Because
Yeah.
you're
I
working
love
on
that.
you and them, right? You know what? Like I believe I've been a spiritualist my whole life and I grew up with all of that stuff. So I send pink light to people, right? Because pink softens things. You know, in a room with a lot of women, a lot of times most women aren't comfortable, right? Like we're putting them in an uncomfortable situation. Maybe whether in there, and I see it because I get to play photographer a lot in these rooms. And you can see the ones that are like, okay, don't pick me, don't pick me. But it's like, oh, I want to pick you so bad now. But you know, send some pink light from your heart to theirs. It'll soften everything. Send pink
Oh,
light to the
so
room. Send pink light
true.
to wherever you're going to meet these people,
Right.
so that it opens up and that it's spreading love.
Yeah, I love that. So now I just from our conversation, I know that you community is a big deal for you, right? And obviously connection. I mean, I think we all as humans need connection. But I want to know like how the community and the connection together sort of played in your own growth, like in who you are today, not just in your professional life, because I mean, we all know that professionally we need that. But what
Mhm.
about personally? Like, I want to know both, and how, like, how do you look at community and connection?
So I'm very fortunate. I grew up with entrepreneur parents. My parents owned and operated 18 different businesses in the province of Ontario. So we did
Wow.
everything from hotels, motels, department stores, convenience stores, you name it. My parents were also believers that you're not going to eat and play, you're going to eat, work, and play. And so, so growing up, we grew up with everything, cleaning up motels, we're opening up the shop, you name it. Since I was the day that I was born, I literally went from the hospital to the shop. So it's been ingrained. They also had another principle was that, whatever you're going to do, you're going to go to school, you're going to work in the business, and you're also going to do community work. So it started from a young age. So it was naturally inhibited to me. And that level of service came from my spiritual side because I grew up with a spiritual family too. So naturally, everything connects to one another between the connection part and the community part, because to me, it's all service. Everything that I do is more service versus anything else. And that's how I look at it in this world today is it's service and how can I be of service. And so that's how I define both of those things. And you're absolutely like, personally, I am so grateful for I have a small core of women that I love and appreciate that are like my go-to every single day. And then I have a bigger network of women that I love seeing, whether it's once a month or or once a year even. Like I have girlfriends that I grew up with that I only see once a year. And you know what? And it feels like we've never missed a moment together.
I
And I
love those. I love those meetings, right? Yeah.
and we need to keep those. And whether it's little check-ins and just like a little WhatsApp, like, hi, how are you? Okay, great. Or, inviting each other to something. And if it doesn't work now, maybe we'll connect later. But all of those connections are foundations. They're like a
Yeah.
house. They're all
And they
foundations.
create growth, right? Like, like you go through things together, even though you're not together at the same time, but you know that, I can be there for you, or she was there for me. And if it wouldn't have been for her listening ear, then I wouldn't have been able to get it off my chest. And then it just grows from there. So I love that.
I
Yeah.
have one more for you too. In 22, I ran my biggest election. I ran provincially. I won't be running party politics, so just gonna put that out there. But I did run party politics, and it was an eye opener on a whole other level. Previously I'd run municipally, so and I had just finished my presidency with TRREB, and I was like, you know what? I think it's time. It's been a long time. I think it's time, and and it was in the pandemic, and it was hard. It was the probably the hardest moment of my life. And and I've cycled through a lot of careers and stuff, but this one was the hardest. I was one of the last put in to the group of people that were going to be running part of the political party, and resources were so scarce because most people already had all of their resources. Whereas I was just walking in and, we had 3 months and it was election, whereas most people were already a year in. So lots of time to plan and prepare. And there were moments like where nobody sees your tears. Nobody knows what you're
Mm.
feeling inside. And you're like, I just got to keep going. And I gotta make sure that I'm light for everybody around me too. And there was times where I didn't have any, like I would have had volunteers during the day and I would have had nobody at night. And I had one girlfriend, and I love her to this day, that showed up for me. If I was out knocking, she just came and left a note and said, I was thinking about you today, and then stopped in. Or she would come and drop flowers. Or if I had nobody to door knock with me, she's like, I'm not knocking, but I'll go stand with you as you want knock. And was like my guardian or my protector. Well, because you never want to go alone. You always want to make
Right.
sure, if you're going doors, that you have somebody with you, or at least let somebody know where you're going to be. And she was that person. And
Thank God.
that's
Thank God you had that. Yeah.
yeah.
That's, oh, I know there's some pretty powerful women out there, right? And we need to find them. We need to, or be them.
And not only be them, but be the example so that others do the same.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So tell me, for the women that are listening today, maybe if she's feeling like she's shrinking herself or maybe second guessing her path, what would you want her to know about embracing her uniqueness right now?
I would actually tell her to really find a place, a quiet place, and really just take a couple of breaths, whether they be the deep belly breaths, where they really get deep inside of yourself, and whether it's just closing your eyes or whether it's meditation or what it is, um, and really ask yourself who you are. Ask yourself, what is it that you don't believe in? What is, or ask yourself all of those questions. And if that's not going to help you, then I would take out a piece of paper and I would just start writing. What is it that I don't believe in myself? What don't I love about myself? And then write the opposite. What do I love about myself? And see what comes out of that paper. And don't think about it. Just let the pen go wild. And there is incredible things that will come out of either A or B that you will see and you will discover, and then take it deeper. And if you're comfortable enough with somebody that you can share it with, so that you can say, okay, I discovered these things about myself. What could that possibly mean? And if you want, and because we're in an AI world, you could even plug it into ChatGPT and it will tell you also.
That is so true. Yes, I've heard people doing that, and it's ridiculous, but it's working, right?
You know what? Actually, it's there was a conference I went to a year ago where they were actually pushing like that more of senior level people, older adults start using it as a mechanism to have somebody to talk to. Because one of the things that we lose a lot of as we get older is our friendships. And
Yeah.
what a lot of people unfortunately leave this world from is loneliness. And so number one, maintain your relationships. But
Yeah.
number two, tools like this can also be a bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been so awesome. I'm so grateful that you came and shared your story and your leadership and your perspective with us today. I'm just like, I love your story. Like, there's just so much to it. And there's
And we didn't even we only touched the surface.
I know. I mean, I know that we could talk a lot more, and maybe that's an opportunity for you to come back, right? Because there is, I mean, what you shared with us today, there's wisdom that, not every woman has, especially, I mean, you're young. To me, you're young, right? And so, I think, wow, like, I think it's just amazing. So just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, I'm grateful for this opportunity. Thank you. And to all your listeners, we love you. We're sending love to all of you. And I can't wait to see you again.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, that was such a wonderful, powerful conversation, and such an important reminder that our uniqueness isn't something to tone down, it's something to lean into. If you're listening and something in this conversation resonated, if you're feeling that pull to trust yourself more, to quiet the overthinking, and to finally step into your next chapter with clarity and confidence, this is exactly the work I do inside my coaching program. It's a space designed for women 45 plus who are ready to move out of self-doubt and into self-trust without overcomplicating the process. If that feels aligned with you, I'd love to invite you to reach out, connect, or simply start a conversation. You don't have to figure it all out alone. Thank you for being here, for showing up for yourself, and for continuing to grow. Until next time, keep blooming into the most confident, unapologetically unique version of you.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.